This conference will now be recorded.
Yes. So we are going to talk about router, switch, hub, right? So maybe many of you heard about these terms, these devices that are your networking devices that we used in a network, right? And all of these devices are used to communicate from one device to another. So let's talk about router first, or let's talk about hub, right? So guys, hub is a device which is used to communicate. This is the definition of hub. Hub is a device which is used to communicate within the network. Okay, suppose this is your hub. Let me just draw it here. This is a hub device, right? And suppose three devices are connected to it. A device, B, and C, right? And this is your hub. Now, what if, guys, A wants to communicate with C, right? So, how will they communicate? So, A will send this data to hub, and hub will send this data to C. So, this is the procedure that should happen, right, in an hub environment. But what is happening here is hub is not an intelligent device, right? Remember this, that hub is not an intelligent device. What hub do? It does broadcast, right? Hub does broadcast. Let me draw it here again. This is your hub, and we'll talk about the switch as well. Correct? Hub is this, and again, three devices are connected to it: A, B, and C. Now, the thing is, A wants to send to some data to C, right? Now, what A will do, A will send this data to hub, and what hub will do, as I told you, it's not an intelligent device. So hub will broadcast this data to each and every device that is connected to it, right? This is how hub works, right? And if we talk about switch, right? If we talk about switch here, so switch is an intelligent device, right? A, B, and C. Three devices are there, correct? And now suppose A wants to send some data to B, right? Now A will send it to definitely to switch, right? Now switch is an intelligent device, or we can say it's an upgrade version of an hub, right? So if I will send this data to switch as an A, so what switch will do, switch will check its memory table that is called CAM table, right? Content addressable memory. This is the full form of CAM, correct? So in this CAM table, we are having, suppose three devices are here, A, B, and C, right? If we talk about here, A, B, and C. So what happened here is the MAC address. Do you know what is a MAC address? Okay, let me check the chat box. Do you know what is MAC address? Okay, let me tell you. MAC is media access control. This is, guys, this is the physical address of your device, which is given to your device by the manufacturer of your laptop or your whatever the device you are having. Correct? So this is what MAC is. So this switch memory have the MAC address of each and every device that is connected to this switch, and even the ports, the physical ports, suppose 1, 2, and 3. So this memory of the switch will contain the MAC address and the port number. Now suppose A wants to send some data to C. So A will send it to the switch. Now what switch will do? Switch will check its memory table, right? Switch will check its memory table. Okay, to which, what's the MAC address of C and what's the port number of the C? Suppose it's 3. So I have to send this data to my port number 3, right? So this is how your hub and switch works. Let me just recall it again. Hub is a device which is used to connect devices in a network, but it is not an intelligent device. What hub do? Hub will do broadcast. So what are the chances of attack here? Suppose I'm the attacker and I can just connect to this hub as D. So whatever they are communicating, I can also get it, right? So that's why we don't use hub nowadays, right? Hub is not in use nowadays. That's why we are using switch. Correct? Because switch is an intelligent device. It's having its memory table, right? So whatever we have to see, we just need to uh, you know check it into the camera, this cam table. Any doubt, any question? If you didn't get it, just let me know, I'll explain it once again. Or give me a thumbs up, please. You can also respond in the chat box, guys. If you got it, you can just tell me so we can just proceed further. All right. Now let's talk about router, right? We know what, like we all know about this device that is router. We all have in our office, in our home, in our workspace, right? This router. Now, guys, the question is, what is this router, right? So suppose this is your this is your home, right? The question is, what is router? Correct. So let me just draw here. Suppose this is your home, and here this is your friend's home. This is your friend's home, and again here, guys, this is your switch, because I told you we don't use hub nowadays. This is the switch, and 3 devices are connected to it: A, B, and C. And again there is a switch, and again 3 devices are connected to it: D, E, and F, right? Now what if, now see, if A, B, C, if they wants to communicate, they can communicate through this switch, right? But what if, guys, this B wants to communicate with E? Correct. So for that we need a router over here. right? We need a router. So router is a device which is used to communicate with the external network, right? Router is a device which is used to connect with the external network. That's why in our office, in our home, we use these routers to connect with the internet, right? So as well, nowadays we don't have to buy switch and router separately. In these routers there are inbuilt switches, correct? So that's why we don't need to buy routers. Any doubt? Any question? I hope you got it. What is router, what is switch, and what is hub? Guys, I want respond from everyone, please. Okay, Anup. Okay, Mr. VR. All right. So I hope basics networkings are clear till here about the IP addresses, what is router, what is switch, right? In advance, we'll cover in the upcoming classes. Let's talk about some cyber terms here. Okay, Mr. Murali. Let's talk about some cyber terms. Correct? Let me open the PPT here. Okay, we already discussed, right? What is LAN, MAN, and WAN, right? You know about that. We already discussed in IP addresses. Now, guys, let's talk about the elements of cybersecurity, and this is the very first topic. If you go for any domain in cyber, that is elements of information security we have. Let me write. So, guys, there are five elements of information security. Confidentiality. Second is integrity, availability, authentication, and known reputation. Right? These are the five elements of information security. Correct? See, what are the elements of an house? So you can see, you can say the. Just a moment. There is some disturbance from my side. Yes. So if we talk about the elements of home, right? So what are the elements of home? How we made up a house, like from the cement, bricks, right, concrete. So all these are the things from which we can, you know uh, we can just made up a house. So these are the elements of an house. And if we talk about cyber security, right, so cyber security, it is made up of 5 elements, right? So and like, let me just make it more clear to you. So imagine you are running a small cafe, right? You're the person here, and you are running a small cafe. Now you want everything to run smoothly, like from keeping your secret coffee recipes safe, making sure your cash register shows the right amount, to being open whenever your customers comes by. So in cybersecurity we have these main pillars. And see, there are three main one that is also called CIA. Even though these are also main, but it depends on which applications we are trying up the cyber, I mean this elements. But this is also called CIA trade, right? So in interviews, this is the very I can say this is the very first question that an interviewer can ask you, whether you are going for a VAPT role or as a security analyst role, and XYZ, right, for SOC as well. So definitely there could be a question, what is CIA? So it is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Let's talk about these three first, then we'll move to the another one. So if I talk about this confidentiality, right? So it is referred to protecting the information from unauthorized access, right? It says confidentiality says only authorized person can make changes, right? This is what confidentiality says, and you all know what is confidential. Oh, I'm sorry, not change. It is only authorized person can have access, not the change. Person can have access, correct? So confidentiality says that only authorized person can have access, and integrity says that only authorized person can make changes. This is the difference between confidentiality and integrity, right? So confidentiality is something, suppose, let's talk about confidentiality first. Suppose this is A and this is B. Now A wants to send a message to B, correct? Suppose a hello message. But there is a lack of confidentiality there, and C is also able to get what A is sending to B, right? So that is a lack of confidentiality. So confidentiality says only authorized person. So who is the authorized person here? The B, right? So only authorized person can have an A as well. So only authorized person can have access to the data. But here, if is also getting the data, that means there is a lack of confidentiality. So can anyone tell me how we can maintain this confidentiality? How we can make sure that only authorized person can make changes? Let's take a real life example. If I'm sending a WhatsApp message to you that is hi or hello, so how WhatsApp is ensuring the confidentiality of its application? Any guess? Encryption. Correct. If you even notice, when you start a call or when you start a chat with your friend or your colleague, so you will see end to end encryption, right? So uh, that is how WhatsApp is ensuring the confidentiality, that only you and your friend are authorized person. Even WhatsApp is not authorized to see whatever you are sending and whatever you are communicating there, right? So this is how WhatsApp is ensuring the confidentiality there. Correct. So this is confidentiality, that only authorized person have access, and it can be maintained by encryption. Now what is encryption, guys? Suppose this A is sending a hello message to B. Now I want to encrypt this message, right? So how will I do that? I will just I can say I will just change this hello message to an unreadable format. So that message could be like this. I'm just converting this hello message into IFMMP, right? IFMMP. Correct? So can you tell me what's the key here? I have used a key to convert this hello message to IFMMP, right? So can you tell me what's the key here? Any guess? Use the reasoning part. If you ever go for the reasoning, so just go for it and let me know what's the key that I have used here.
Incremented by one
Exactly.
letter.
You can see after H what comes in alphabets: I, then E, then F, then L, then M. So I have used plus one key over here, right? I have increased like by one alphabet, right? Now what I'm doing is I am sending this IFMMP message to B with its decryption key. So what would be the decryption key now? Decryption is something when you are converting this unreadable format to the plain text. So what would be that? It would be -1. Correct. So it's just an I can say example that I have give to you, right? It's not the truth, right? I've just given an example over here that we used some kind of keys here, right, in which we used to convert and convert into the unreadable format, I mean encryption and decryption. So A will send this IFMMP to B with its decryption key, that would be -1. So now when this will reach to B, we can decrypt it. So this is how C will not able to get the whatever they are communicating. So will not able to get that, right? So this is your confidentiality. And now what is integrity, guys? Integrity is something, suppose again A is sending some data to B, and that is hello again, right? But suppose in between there is an attacker and he changed this hello to bye, right? So that is the lack of integrity. So integrity says that only authorized person can have access, only authorized person have access to change the data. Untempered data, correct, right? So how you can maintain this, that only the authorized person can just change the data? By encryption you are you know you're just ensuring that only authorized person can have access. How you will ensure the integrity, that only authorized person can make the changes? Any guess? Do you know what is hashing? Heard about this term, hashing? Let me tell you what is hashing. So guys, hashing is an technique through which you can change some data into a fixed unreadable format, right? I'm sending you a website. Go to that website, please. I have sent you a website. Please open this website, guys. Hash calc online. Right? So this is the website. Now guys, suppose I'm writing hello, right? And I'm using some algorithms to hash this, and I will generate the hash. So guys, see, this is the hash. So can you tell me what's the key here that we have used to generate this hash? Because if you remember, in encryption we use the +1. So here, can you tell me? No, you can't, right? Because the thing is, hashing is a technique in which we generate the random numbers, right? We generate the random numbers for some words. So even though in our databases, suppose you create an account on the Instagram or the WhatsApp or Snapchat, and you put the password there, right? When you sign up for the first time, you put the password there. So your password is stored in the form of hash, right? Your password is stored in the form of hash only, right? So this is what your hashing is, right? And the most incredible thing about this hashing is that you cannot get the plain text back. Like in encryption, you can get the plain text back by just converting it to, by you are having a decryption key, and you will convert it to the back and you will get it. But in hashing, you cannot do that. How? See, suppose this is my hash, and I'll just copy this hash from here and I'll paste it over here, right? So I'll paste it here, and let me just hash this again. So I will get another one. So the thing about hash is that you cannot get the plain text back. That's why hashes are more secured, right? So this happens. Okay. So this is what hashing is, correct? I hope you got it, everyone. What is an hashing? In which we are generating some random numbers and we cannot get the plain text back. Correct? Now, see how hashing is maintaining the integrity there. Let me just show you. Suppose I just write hello again, right? And integrity says only authorized person can make changes, correct? Hello. Now I'm just hashing this again, and you will see this is the hash, right? And integrity says that only authorized person can make changes. So guys, suppose I'm not the authorized person, right? But I'm making a change here. I just put a dot, right? And first, see what the hashing is starting from. It is starting from 545, right? And ending with C23, 5C23. Let me just put on a dot here and see the result. See, it's totally changed just by adding a dot there, right? So that is why we used hashing to prevent the lack of integrity there, right? So this is what integrity. And how you can maintain it? By using hashing, right? So I told you we cannot get the plain text back in hashing. We cannot you know get the plain text back, but what the thing is, we can crack these hashes, right? We can crack these hashes. We are having some tools by which we can crack these hashes, right? So this is what your hashing and integrity is. Now the third one was your availability. So availability means, this is your availability. So what does that mean? That data should be available whenever required by the user. It says the data should be available whenever it is required by the user. So let us say, let's take an example. You go to the Amazon website, right? You visited the Amazon site, and you must have seen that might be in a mega sale or in a festival day, the Amazon site becomes sluggish, or it becomes very slow to respond. So what can happen if they are like not able to maintain this availability pillar? Then the user, they can flow out to other e-commerce sites like the Flipkarts, right? We are having an other commerce website. So what will happen for Amazon? They will be losing their customer base. So this is why for organizations, availability pillar is also mandatory, right? And what are the attacks that can affect this availability pillar? That is your DOS attack, right? In which an attacker get the server down, right? So to maintain this availability, what we can do, see, to prevent this DOS attack, we can use load balancers, right? Load balancers. And what are these load balancers? Suppose instead of relying on just one server, we can just rely on multiple servers over there, and we can use load balancers. So suppose some data will be transferred to this data, some request will be transferred to this server, and some request will be transferred to this, and some to this, correct? So this is what your load balancers. Other one are your backup, right? That organizations must have backup, so that data should be available whenever it is required by the user. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Like, I didn't write anything, I was just drawing on there, right? So the very first, I told you availability means data should be available, right? You go for the Amazon website, you can use rainbow tables to crack the hashes, Mr. BR. We have rainbow tables, right? So if you know about cryptography, right? So cryptography is a technique in which we learn about this encryption, decryption, and hashing. So in cryptography, we use this rainbow tables, which are used to crack these hashes. So I told you about. Okay, got it, Mr. BR. Yeah. So this availability is data should be available, and to maintain this availability pillar, we use load balancers, we use backup. Correct. So this is what your CIA. And the other two was your authentication, that you should be authenticated, right? You should be authenticate whenever, like, suppose these pillars are of, suppose any application is giving you an assurity that they are providing you security. So on which basis you will uh, examine that, on which basis they are saying that we are providing you security. So the elements of security are these only. So if Instagram is saying to you that we are providing you security, so that's why authentication is mandatory, right? Authentication means that we need to give our username and password over there, then only we are authenticated. And the another one is known reputation. So what does that mean? Known reputation means that as a user, you cannot deny that you have sent the data, and as a receiver, you cannot deny that you haven't received the data. Suppose, uh, let's take an example. suppose Mr. BR is there, right? And I want to buy a car from Mr. BR, right? Now I told Mr. BR that I will buy your car in 10 lakh rupees, right? I will buy in 10 lakh rupees. Then he said okay, right? So when the payment part comes, so I told him that okay, Mr. BR told me that we have decided in 15 lakhs, right? So what he did, he just denied his action, right? He just denied it, whatever he is saying, right? Because first he said that okay, I will give you this car in 10 lakh rupees, and after that he is saying like I'll give you in 15 lakh rupees, that we discussed the like 15 lakhs only, right? So what he did, he repudiated his action, correct? So this is what non-repudiation is, that as a user you cannot deny that having received the message, and as a receiver you cannot deny that. Even in Gmails, suppose as a sender I cannot deny it, because Gmail is providing you the security, and you will see that in my sent box the mail would be there, and if I delete it from here, so it would be in the receiver side, in the receiver's inbox. And if receiver deleted from the its inbox, that it would be in my sent box, right? This is on one thing. The another thing is your digital transactions, right? So how these things are happening, suppose uh, I go to the bank and I submit like 5 rupees there in the bank. Then I ask my bank that okay, I have submit like 10 rupees there, right? I deposit 10 rupees. So what bank will do to just overcome with this problem, they will do digital signature, they will use the digital signatures, right? That car one, right? That car one example, let's take that one. So Mr. BR and me, right? So what we will did, we will just sign an agreement in which each and every detail would be there. So I will sign there and Mr. BR will sign there. So same like in cyber security, we use digital signatures, right? So what we did in banks, so bank will deposit with my sign and with their sign, right? So this is digital signatures, and this is what non-repudiation is. So these are the five main elements of security. These are the five main elements of security: confidentiality, that can be maintained by encryption; then integrity, that can be maintained by hashing; then availability, that can be maintained by uh, anyone.
Load balancer.
Load balances, correct, correct. Does availability reverse to confidentiality? Because if you want to maintain data confidentiality, then how we can make availability data publicly? See, the thing is, Mr. BR, the thing is here is availability is something that data should be available, right? So confidentiality is something else. Confidentiality is just like the unauthorized person cannot have access, but I am the authorized person and still I'm not getting the data. That is the lack of availability, right? Confidentiality says that okay, I'm not the authorized person and still I'm getting the data, right? That's the lack of confidentiality. But lack of availability is that I am the authorized person but still I'm not getting the data, right? I'm the authorized person to visit the Amazon website, but what is happening, still I'm not able to get the data there, right? So that is the thing. Any other question, guys? And oh, yes, one more thing, we can how we can maintain authenticity by digital certificates, right? By digital certificates we can maintain the fourth part, authentication. And non-repudiation can be maintained by, any guess? Non-repudiation,
Digital signatures.
digital signatures, correct, correct, correct. Now any question, guys, till here in the networking part and in this confidentiality, integrity, availability? the elements of information security part. See why it's CIA and why elements of information security are different. Because see, there are some website which does not need authentication, right? Suppose there is a website of photographer, so there I don't need to provide my authenticity, right? So that is the thing. So that's the thing there. It's all about web application and websites. So when we'll discuss about the web application part, we'll come to this point. Any question regarding this? Otherwise I'll ask you a question and you have to give me the answer. Okay, now let me ask you the question. Is firewall a network equipment? So you are asking like it's a different question, correct? You're not asking from the perspective of this. See, okay. See, your firewall, it's a it's considered as a network security equipment, but with an important note. Like if it's network based, right? If it's a physical network device which is placed between your local area network or your internet, right? So, or if it's a software based, right? So at that point, it would be considered as network security equipment. So the your answer is yes, correct. This is your network equipment, definitely. Okay, let me just draw here. What's the position of firewall? See, this is your internet, right? This is your external internet, or this is your external network, that is internet. And this is your local area network. This is your house or your office, right? So guys, this is where the firewall would be there, right? So whatever the traffic that is coming from the internet, and whatever the traffic that is going from my network, from my local area network to the internet, firewall will monitor it and will block the malicious packet which is coming from the internet. If any malicious request that is coming from the packet, it will block by this firewall. So the main position of the firewall is between the two networks, most commonly between your LAN and the external network, correct? Got it, Mr. BR? Okay, can I take the another example? Or let's take the example of house only, right? Let's take the example of house. So suppose this is your house, right? And this is the outside street that is there, right? and here is a security guard, right? So now consider this house as your local area network, your house, your home, your office. You know what is local area network, right? And consider this street as uh, internet, and your guard is your firewall, right? So the guard, the firewall at the main gate, yes, with the router, definitely your router would be here only. Correct, correct. With the routers and their switches. In router, we are having inbuilt switches, right? And in nowadays, we also have firewalls in our routers as well, right? But anyways, you can then install softwares and hardware as firewall as well. So here would be your firewall, correct? So firewall will allow this guard, like it will check the ID. It will only allow the people you trust, right? Because we have in firewall, if you see, we have some rules, right? We allow some rules there. We set some rules there that who can come and who cannot, who can come and who cannot, right? So this is how your firewall will work, right? And we are having some internal firewalls as well, right? So internal firewalls means, suppose if your house has different rooms with locks inside, like separating your bedroom from the living room, so that's like having internal firewall between the parts of your network, correct? So those are your internal firewall which are in the network, and these are your external firewall, your we call it parameter firewalls, right? Parameter firewall, most common, these are parameter firewall. We also have cloud firewalls as well, right? Which we use in the cloud environment. Guys, let me ask you a question. Yes, WAF, your web application firewalls, it is like a specialized firewall which is designed to protect websites and web applications. Let me ask you a question, guys. What is the full form of Mac? What's the full form of Mac, guys? MAC.
The media access control.
Correct. 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 So correct. Correct. Okay. So this is all about your session, today's session, and on the next class we'll continue our VAPT part, right? But before VAPT, to be very honest, we need to cover some cyber security concepts as well. So that first basics should be clear, then we'll go for the advanced part.